Dinar shift, the moment many have speculated about for years, appears to be transitioning from a distant possibility into an immediate, evolving situation. Over the last several days, a significant surge in reports has emerged from individuals who hold certain foreign currencies, suggesting a coordinated wave of activity may have secretly begun. These reports detail unusual changes at financial institutions, noticeable increases in security presence, and most compellingly, the alleged initiation of discrete appointment notifications for early exchange processes. This confluence of signals, from whispers among long-term currency communities to unexpected institutional behavior, is prompting a national conversation about whether the long-anticipated global currency revaluation, or RV, is finally commencing its quiet rollout. Across multiple regions of the United States, including key states like Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, Tennessee, Colorado, and Georgia, currency holders are circulating stories of observations that defy typical banking operations. The individuals reporting this activity speak of a sudden intensification of security measures around certain financial centers, and more notably, claims of being contacted for highly restricted redemption appointments. These reported exchanges are described as being quiet, invitation only, and deliberately exclusive, bearing no resemblance to the standard foreign exchange transactions available to the general public. These accounts align remarkably well with the theoretical procedures that have long been associated with top-tier, sensitive financial movements, adding a layer of credibility to the circulating intelligence. The common thread in these claims points toward a carefully managed and controlled process, often involving discrete call-ins and verification centers located away from public-facing bank branches. Reports emphasize staff operating under severe confidentiality mandates, suggesting an event of national or international financial sensitivity. While the nature of these highly controlled invitation-only redemptions makes public confirmation impossible, the sheer volume and surprising consistency of the testimonies from geographically diverse locations strongly indicate that some form of coordinated behind-the-scenes financial activity is taking place. This pattern of synchronized anecdotal evidence is challenging the long-held skepticism of many observers. Adding to the narrative of preemptive, internal financial shifts are the reports concerning major banks placing sudden limitations on the purchase of foreign currencies. Some individuals report the unexpected closure of traditional currency exchange windows, while former bank employees are allegedly advising associates to remain prepared for imminent changes. These combined actions, bank restrictions, reduced service hours, and increased institutional security, are viewed by many currency followers as unmistakable preliminary indicators of the earliest stages of a major currency movement. Whether or not these reports are entirely accurate, the emerging pattern of coordinated action within the financial system is now impossible for the community to overlook as speculation continues to mount. A particularly significant and often discussed detail in the stories coming from alleged early exchangers is the use of off-site exchange locations. Those claiming to have participated in these initial processes describe being directed to secured, non-traditional facilities instead of the visible, public banking halls. These reported centers are characterized by controlled access points, mandatory check-in screenings, dedicated stations for document verification, and sophisticated currency scanning equipment. These systems are reportedly designed to accurately check for and identify counterfeit notes, underscoring the serious nature of the transactions being conducted within these walls. The emphasis on high security is a key detail being repeated in multiple independent reports. The detailed security descriptions extend to advanced identification methods. Certain early exchangers mention the necessity of biometric verification, specifically citing the use of fingerprint or retinal scans to confirm identity. Furthermore, they describe passing through metal detectors and being accompanied by security escorts throughout the process. The atmosphere is consistently portrayed as professional, calm, and firmly organized, with very clear rules of engagement. While these features may sound like elements of a high-security government operation, proponents of the revaluation theory argue that this is precisely the necessary protocol for handling an event involving vast sums, coordinated globally, and requiring an absolute guarantee against chaos or public exposure. These recurring descriptions, repeated across numerous unverified accounts, raise the substantial possibility that a structured and phased redemption system is, at least partially, already active, even if it remains completely obscured from the mainstream public and the broader market. The insistence on such controlled processes speaks to the critical need for order and confidentiality. A significant global financial restructuring event, particularly one involving the movement of large volumes of currency, would inherently require this level of operational control to ensure stability and to prevent potential market disruption. The consistency of these reported operational details is a major factor driving the community's belief that a quiet process is unfolding. Inside these purportedly operational redemption centers, the individuals claiming to have successfully exchanged currency describe a remarkably smooth and professional experience. Their accounts suggest the process is initiated by a thorough verification of identity, requiring not only passports and driver's licenses, but also secondary documents like utility bills for cross-confirmation. Once the individual's identity is unequivocally established, staff proceed to the critical currency evaluation phase. This involves meticulously laying out the currency notes, organizing them by denomination, and then feeding them through highly specialized electronic scanners. These advanced scanning systems are reportedly engineered to do far more than just count. They are designed to authenticate crucial security features, including serial numbers, unique ink patterns, precise watermarks, and subtle print variations on the currency. Some reports even suggest that each individual note is photographed and logged into an advanced digital ledger system, which may be connected to emerging blockchain-based financial architecture. This highly digitized and tamper-proof accounting method would be a crucial safeguard to prevent fraud and maintain an absolute, auditable record of the massive financial movement, reinforcing the perceived global scale of the operation. Following the successful verification of both the holder's identity and the currency's authenticity, individuals report being moved to a dedicated consultation area. Here, they are provided with essential information regarding the exchange, including detailed explanations of the available currency rates, the various structured payout options, and the mandatory signing of non-disclosure agreements or NDAs. Many accounts stress that the NDA is extremely strict, comprehensive, and legally binding, demanding absolute and perpetual silence on the details of the transaction, the location, and the rates offered. The reports warn that any breach of the confidentiality agreement could result in the cancellation of the payout or the imposition of severe financial penalties, underscoring the critical importance of discretion. After accepting the terms, participants proceed to sign documentation that formally acknowledges the agreed-upon exchange rate. They then exit the facility, typically possessing a signed contract or a deposit slip that serves as a tangible record of the funds they are set to receive once the transaction is officially cleared and the final transfer is processed. The entire experience, as described, is one of total control and quiet efficiency, befitting an operation of profound financial secrecy. Among the most sensational and intensely discussed claims currently circulating are those concerning the existence of multiple exchange rate tiers being presented to different types of holders. Despite the publicly traded market rates remaining stable and unchanged, early exchangers consistently insist that within these private, closed redemption settings, a spectrum of rates may be available. This availability is said to be determined by the category and specific eligibility of the currency holder, reflecting a tiered approach to the revaluation process that is far removed from a standard single market rate. These alleged tiers reportedly include a baseline standard rate, which remains close to the current public market value, and a notably higher private contract rate, reserved for specific, pre-qualified groups or individuals. Furthermore, a special humanitarian or sovereign rate is claimed to be accessible for those presenting verifiable large-scale community, environmental, or global improvement projects. These most privileged rates are reportedly conditional, tied to strictly structured release schedules that necessitate long-term financial planning, public accountability, and regular verification of project milestones, ensuring the funds are used as intended. While the complete accuracy of these multi-tiered claims cannot be verified at this time, the insistent and repeated nature of the stories has heavily influenced the conversation across the entire online currency community. The primary questions now revolve around the reality and permanence of these special rates, and whether the general population of currency holders will ever have access to them. The theory gaining traction suggests that if the revaluation is indeed rolling out in carefully managed stages, the broader public may only experience a much slower and more gradual adjustment, building anticipation and uncertainty within the community. A natural question frequently asked by those observing the developing narrative is why, if these initial exchanges are genuinely occurring, there is a total lack of reporting from established mainstream media organizations. Those promoting the circulating intelligence suggest that the explanation is deeply rooted in the strict confidentiality agreements. They contend that every individual who enters these private centers must sign a stringent NDA that explicitly prohibits disclosure of the location, the specific rates offered, and the procedural details of the exchange. This silence is a critical component of the strategy. These confidentiality mandates reportedly extend far beyond verbal communication, covering all forms of digital communication, including social media posting, phone calls, text messages, emails, and even private conversations with immediate family or close professional advisors. The stated rationale for such intense secrecy is to preemptively prevent chaos, mitigate potential financial disruption, and stop premature market leaks during the critical initial stabilization phase. Some accounts even mention that the NDA language includes explicit references to national security, the maintenance of economic stability, and the integration of new digital assets into the financial system, framing the event in a geopolitical context. Whether or not the specifics of these confidentiality claims are entirely factual, the overarching concept of requiring absolute silence is fully consistent with the kind of orderly, controlled process that would logically accompany a major, globally coordinated financial restructuring event. If a massive systemic shift in currency valuation were truly taking place, it would make rational sense that only vetted and controlled information would be permitted to circulate while the new financial architecture stabilizes and integrates with existing global systems. This controlled information environment would be essential to manage the transition smoothly. The testimony from ordinary citizens claiming to have navigated these early redemption processes continues to spread through online forums and communities nationwide. For example, a person based in Texas described receiving an unexpected, urgent call instructing them to attend a private appointment within a mere 24 hours. Separately, a military veteran in Florida reportedly exchanged a bundle of currencies and was offered carefully structured payout options spanning a period of several years, suggesting a focus on controlled long-term capital deployment. Another individual claimed they were strictly instructed to maintain silence, sharing their experience only with the specific financial professionals assigned to their case. All these varied, independent testimonies follow a strikingly similar pattern: an unforeseen and discreet call, strict procedural instructions, the imposition of a non-disclosure agreement, mandatory security verification, and the offer of life-changing exchange rates. Whether these accounts are the result of genuine experiences or a widespread, shared misunderstanding, their profound consistency has led many long-term currency holders who were once skeptical to reevaluate their position. The continuous emergence of these detailed, synchronized accounts is forming an increasingly compelling and intense narrative within the foreign currency community, challenging years of doubt and hesitation. A significant indicator of possible internal preparation within the financial sector is the sudden, reported activity within banking institutions. Currency holders in multiple states have observed that major banks have abruptly ceased the sale of certain foreign currencies. Other accounts mention local branches severely limiting their foreign exchange operating hours or temporarily disabling specific foreign currency services altogether. Some tell of bewildered bank employees who admit they are acting on internal instructions they cannot personally explain. Furthermore, an increased presence of security personnel at financial institutions during unusual hours, such as early mornings and after closing, has also been reported in several areas. These internal banking shifts could, of course, simply represent standard changes in internal policy or typical adjustments to liquidity management. However, advocates of the revaluation theory interpret them as concrete signs of preparations for major liquidity adjustments, the implementation of updated currency rates, or the beginning of a controlled, phased rollout. They argue that banks would absolutely require a substantial period to internally adjust their complex systems, train and inform their staff, and secure their physical facilities before the public announcement of a massive, systemic shift in currency values. The ambiguity of these banking changes is currently fueling intense speculation. Central to the underlying narrative of the revaluation is the belief that this currency adjustment is intrinsically linked to a much larger, sweeping global financial restructuring. This restructuring is theorized to involve a transition away from traditional, debt-based fiat monetary systems toward new, asset-backed frameworks, which supporters suggest may be anchored by strategic reserves of gold, key global commodities, and emerging digital payment technologies. They point to the recent actions of several countries, notably Iraq and Vietnam, which have reportedly increased their official gold reserves, implemented new central bank policies, and announced economic reforms that align with such a monumental global transition. Proponents also highlight international regulatory updates, the strengthening of anti-fraud systems, and the introduction of sophisticated digital identification tools as additional evidence that the global financial infrastructure is silently preparing for a fundamental shift. While many traditional economists often dismiss these theories, RV followers maintain that these macro-level developments are undeniable proof of a quiet, synchronized global pivot. Their core argument is that national currencies that have been historically undervalued or suppressed may soon be reset to accurately reflect their true economic potential under these new asset-backed frameworks, regardless of whether this conclusion is currently supported by mainstream analysis. A major reason why attention remains fixated on the updates is the ongoing economic situation and reform efforts within Iraq itself. Over the last year, the Iraqi government and its central bank have undertaken numerous actions that strongly suggest a concerted effort to fundamentally strengthen the value of the Iraqi dinar. Official announcements frequently emphasize greater national financial stability, substantial improvements in oil revenue management, and the forging of new international financial partnerships. Officials have also openly discussed the modernization of the country's entire banking infrastructure, the expansion of digital payment systems, and the creation of more efficient cross-border financial flows, all of which are essential groundwork. Some financial analysts believe these internal reforms represent necessary foundational steps required to be completed before any meaningful or significant revaluation could credibly occur. The currency community argues persuasively that Iraq's central bank would not invest such massive effort, capital, and political will into modernization projects unless a new, higher value system for the currency was already the long-term objective. This concentrated effort, combined with the confident rhetoric from Iraqi leadership regarding their nation's economic independence and financial sovereignty, is seen as powerful evidence that the country is deliberately positioning itself for a major and imminent shift in the dinar's valuation. Vietnam has similarly been a focus of intense observation as a critical component of this overarching financial narrative. The Vietnamese dong has exhibited signs of strengthening, and the State Bank of Vietnam has implemented several policy adjustments aimed at stabilizing the currency supply, attracting significant foreign direct investment, and sustaining its already robust trade performance. Supporters of the revaluation concept emphasize Vietnam's rapid manufacturing growth, its undeniable export strength, and its expanding integration into global markets as key factors that make the dong a highly logical candidate for an eventual and coordinated revaluation alongside other nations. While most mainstream financial experts anticipate only a gradual, long-term appreciation of the dong over time, followers of the RV theory point to recent, targeted policy adjustments as definitive signs that Vietnam may be preparing for a broader, synchronized shift with other nations involved in the global reset. They also highlight Vietnam's proactive involvement in international initiatives focused on digital payment modernization and key economic partnerships that align perfectly with a potential future global financial framework. The RV community firmly believes that Vietnam's economic momentum is undeniable, and that underlying, undisclosed agreements may already be in place, setting the stage for a significant change. A new dimension to the ongoing discussion involves the reported implementation of sophisticated digital asset security systems within the alleged redemption centers. Individuals claiming early access consistently speak of the use of blockchain-based tracking technology, tamper-proof record logs, and advanced devices capable of instantaneous counterfeit detection. Some even suggest that exchanged funds may be temporarily held in digital ledger accounts before a controlled release into the traditional banking system. These descriptions imply that if private exchanges are indeed happening, they are utilizing cutting-edge technology designed to ensure fraud prevention, accurate real-time accounting, and robust protection of highly sensitive financial data. Proponents argue that this level of advanced security infrastructure would be absolutely essential for managing a large-scale, controlled revaluation event involving vast quantities of physical currency. Digital tools, they contend, could effectively minimize human error, instantly identify and eliminate counterfeit notes, and provide a comprehensive, immutable digital record of every single transaction from start to finish. Whether these claims are fully accurate or represent a degree of exaggeration, the repeated mention of advanced digital security systems adds a compelling layer of technical intrigue to the story, raising important questions about the sophisticated infrastructure being quietly deployed behind closed doors. As the excitement and anticipation continue to build across the community, so too does the inherent risk of fraudulent activity and scams. Numerous individuals have reported receiving unsolicited emails, text messages, or phone calls falsely claiming to offer early redemption appointments, guaranteeing specific high rates, or promising insider access to the process. Financial authorities and longtime community analysts consistently warn that any legitimate process, should it exist, would never require an upfront payment, access to cryptocurrency wallets, or sensitive bank login credentials. The fundamental rule for all holders remains simple. Any request for money or urgent action is the hallmark of a scam. The foreign currency community has unfortunately been a target of countless fraudulent attempts over the years, and the current atmosphere of heightened anticipation has created a perfect operational environment for scammers to exploit the hopes and readiness of holders. It is paramount that people remain extremely cautious, diligently verify the source and content of all communication, and avoid responding to any suspicious or unsolicited messages. Even if the revaluation is truly beginning, that does not validate every message or offer. Maintaining a grounded awareness and vigilance is essential to protect both personal finances and private information from exploitation. Another crucial directive emanating from experienced analysts is the critical importance of maintaining strict silence online. Individuals who claim to have completed early exchanges emphasize that any public mention of the process, the rates they received, or the details of their appointment could potentially result in severe penalties or the total cancellation of their transaction. They underscore that confidentiality is absolutely vital for maintaining order during the initial, delicate stages, preventing any potential chaos in the financial markets, and ensuring the stability of the entire system. Even those who have not yet participated are strongly encouraged to avoid posting sensitive details or making speculative predictions with personal information attached. In a charged atmosphere where emotions are naturally high and rumors spread with extreme speed, disciplined silence becomes a powerful and necessary tool for personal safety and protecting the integrity of a highly sensitive process. People are advised to act smartly, remain cautious, and show respect for the necessary secrecy of the potential transition, especially when the possibility of very large sums of money is involved. The ability to manage information and uphold discretion may be as important as the currency itself during this critical phase. For those actively preparing for the possibility of an invitation or confirmation email, thorough organization is paramount. Those who report having successfully exchanged their currency strongly emphasize the absolute necessity of having all required documents immediately ready: current passports, driver's licenses, verifiable proof of residency, original purchase receipts for the currency, and meticulously organized bundles of the currency itself. Some advisors even recommend drafting a detailed, written plan for the responsible use of the funds, particularly in the event that structured payout options or humanitarian project requirements are presented as part of the exchange terms. Being fully prepared significantly reduces stress, streamlines the process immensely, and ensures that no critical documents are overlooked at a moment of high pressure. Even if the full public rollout takes more time to materialize, having all details organized ahead of time offers a clear advantage. Readiness demonstrates professionalism, responsibility, and an understanding of the seriousness of the event, qualities that many believe could be highly valued if the process truly involves selective early access and tightly controlled professional appointments. A widely discussed concept within the community is the belief that this major financial transition will deliberately unfold in a series of sequential waves. One version suggests the first wave is extremely limited and highly confidential, while a subsequent second wave might include larger, pre-qualified private groups. The third and final wave is then anticipated to involve everyday currency holders, but only after the initial, controlled stages have been fully tested and stabilized. Proponents argue that this three-phase structure is essential for testing the integrity of the new system, verifying its security, and refining the processes before opening them up to the public at large. This tiered structure is also designed to allow the financial system to effectively manage massive changes in liquidity and security without overwhelming banks and financial institutions, ensuring a stable transition. Regardless of whether these exact phases exist, the idea has profoundly shaped the expectations of millions of holders, leading them to anticipate a systematic, step-by-step rollout rather than a single, sudden global shift. This measured anticipation helps to reduce panic, confusion, and unrealistic expectations, fostering a community that remains patient but highly alert to developments. One of the most intense themes emerging alongside the reports is a pervading sense of urgency surrounding the timing. Many in the community believe that if initial, early exchanges have truly begun, the window of opportunity for accessing the highest potential contract rates may be strictly limited. Certain unverified updates circulating online claim that a very brief, high-activity period, potentially lasting only 48 to 72 hours, might be offered during the initial surge, with rates then gradually adjusting downward afterward. If such a critical window were to exist, preparedness and the ability to act immediately would be non-negotiable necessities. People who have dedicated years to waiting may finally be nearing their moment, but only those who have their documents ready, their email notifications actively monitored, and their currency bundles meticulously organized would stand to benefit from participating in the earliest wave. Whether these time-sensitive windows are officially planned or simply a product of community speculation is currently unknown. However, even the possibility creates a profound sense of importance around remaining vigilant, maintaining a state of high alert, and ensuring maximum readiness to act at a moment's notice. The global implications of a confirmed revaluation event are vast and potentially historic. If Iraq successfully strengthens its currency, it could significantly impact global oil markets and trading dynamics. Should Vietnam adjust its valuation, the worldwide landscape of manufacturing and trade could be substantially reshaped. If multiple suppressed or undervalued currencies were to rise in value simultaneously, the distribution of global wealth could undergo a fundamental transformation. Supporters frame this theoretical event as one of the largest transfers of wealth in modern history, potentially empowering ordinary citizens, veterans, and middle-class families with resources capable of transforming their communities and beyond. While critics remain skeptical and view these claims as exaggerated, those who closely track the ongoing developments argue that the confluence of major geopolitical shifts, massive digital finance upgrades, and targeted central bank reforms cannot be ignored. The ultimate outcome, whether this materializes as the most significant financial correction of the century or a slower, more controlled economic adjustment, remains to be determined. Regardless of the scale, the financial impact on global systems could be historic and far-reaching, fundamentally altering the existing economic paradigm. Despite the surrounding excitement, a significant level of doubt persists. Many people find it inherently challenging to accept that an event of such massive financial magnitude could unfold so quietly, entirely behind the scenes, and without any official public acknowledgement from governments or major financial bodies. Skeptics argue that if early exchanges were genuinely taking place, a greater volume of concrete, irrefutable evidence would surely surface. Supporters counter that the combination of strictly enforced NDA, highly controlled operating environments, and limited initial participation provides a logical explanation for the continued silence and the scarcity of public data. This debate between skepticism and belief has been a constant for years, but the current surge in consistent, detailed, and synchronized reports has begun to shake the convictions of even the longest-standing skeptics. The most critical risk now is no longer outright disbelief. It is the risk of hesitation. As more suggestive signs accumulate, many feel that ignoring the possibility altogether could ultimately lead to profound regret. Whether or not the currency revaluation is already discreetly underway, the simple act of being organized and prepared costs nothing, while the cost of missing a significant financial opportunity could be immeasurable for those involved. As this report concludes, attention naturally turns to the immediate next steps. If the hidden wave of early exchanges is truly commencing its phased rollout, the forthcoming days and weeks are likely to bring an escalation of movement, an increased frequency of personal reports, and potentially more visible, public facing signals emanating from banks and financial institutions. The optimal strategy for every currency holder remains consistently simple and focused. Maintain meticulous organization, stay critically informed, remain absolutely calm, and be ready to act with professionalism. It is essential to keep all financial documents secure, ensure all currency holdings are organized, maintain active and secure communication channels, and strictly avoid engaging with any form of scammer or unverified offer. Most importantly, holders must maintain a rational and level mindset, free from panic or overexuberance. After enduring years of patient anticipation, navigating endless rumors, coping with delays, and facing constant doubt, the critical moment that many have been waiting for may finally be beginning to reveal its presence. Whether this confirmed activity marks the official start of the revaluation or simply the final, intense buildup to a larger event, one fact is becoming increasingly clear to the community. A significant systemic shift is underway. The various signs are growing louder, the consistent reports are strengthening in detail, and the general community momentum is undeniably building, signaling that this story is far from over.